Hello, good morning, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. What day is it? It is August 9. I believe it's August 9. Is it August 9? It sure is August 9, 2024. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hopefully everybody is doing well today. Michelle in there bright and early. Peru, welcome to you. Drash, nice to see you. Analysis, hello. Will you finally see another penguin in the Draconic Depths? What other penguins have you been spying on? Hello, Kenshin, nice to see you. Kimmy, Salim is doing a dragon dance in the chat. I like it. Good morning to you as well, Traco. Rachel, KDM, Xanther's ready for dragons. Looks like Hank is ready too. Like I said, hopefully everybody's doing well. Hopefully you're faring well on Ronza's ship. You know, if you've picked up the tail First Dragons, if you've gotten the map piece, you can then you can collect some more grubs as well, which is a nice little bonus. It's not too important to go and get another 100 of each grub, but it can't hurt. You know, it'll help you be that much more prepared. But it's just a nice little bonus as well. So, you know, if you feel a little down to the wire to finish all 300 of those, I wouldn't sweat it too much after you have the map piece. That's a nice little bonus. Gideon, it's Singapore's birthday today, is it? Well, that sounds fantabulous. Milky, nice to see you. Welcome on in, Keem. Morocco, greetings from Serbia. Well, greetings from Canada. Hello, Suzanne. Peter, nice to see you. Jared, you're very excited to finally watch live. You can't wait to hear about the new zone. Well, Jared, that's a nice little, that's a nice segue into taking a look at the Draconic Depths. We're going to see what intel has been uncovered. I'm going to have Norm join me as well. Can give a little bit of a sneak peek. That's it, it's just around the corner. So there'll still be plenty to discover as well. Well, I'll bring in Norm. How you doing today, Norm?
Hello, I'm doing fantastic, Dave. Thanks for having me on the show.
We'll go call it a show?
Yeah, why not?
All right, Norm, put on a show.
Hey.
I expect a song and dance. There we go. Well, we have a little bit to share about the Draconic Depths. It's coming on Tuesday. Do I have my days of the week correct there, Norm?
You do, absolutely. Tuesday, August 13th.
There we go. I'll let you say the dates so I can't mess anything up. But, you know, maybe we can give just a little bit of what to expect. I know the latest news post revealed a little bit of this intel, so some of it's a kind of a recap. But, you know, maybe you can shed a little bit of light on how you're going to explore the caverns.
Yeah, okay. So let's see. I'll try to not give away too much, but you know, you could kind of think of it as there's sort of two different phases. When you first arrive, you're at the surface of the Draconic Depths, where you have your trusty 3 droids who are able to forge dowsing rods for you. And once those rods are completed, they allow you to descend into the tunnels of the Draconic Depths, and you can use those rods to find a specific tunnel to enter. And then once you get down there, that's where the loot is. That's where the bigger and the scarier dragons that have the most loot are. And of course, and also that's where you'll be able to use your Replicart. And
I have a couple screenshots of the heads-up display when you're forging those navigational dowsing rods versus you're using them and you found a cavern to explore. Some adorable droids have made a return.
Yeah. It's the droids are amazing. They're amazing. I think every iteration of the droids just gets cuter and cuter as we go along. So I'm really pleased that they made they have such a strong visual significance in this area.
I love the outfits that they have on. You know, it's just kind of makes it for me.
It's brilliant. Yeah. No, the artists really did an incredible job with those droids. Just so much personality packed into those things.
Hey, YX, welcome on in. Lady Nutsy, good morning to you as well. Is it like the Queso Canyon region? Asked Jedi there. Not quite in that sense of there being multiple areas. It's more phases, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really just the 2 different phases. You know, like I said, the Crucible Forge phase you see up there at the top that allows you to descend into the cavern, and then when your cavern collapses, you come back out to the forge to find another one, basically. So it's essentially the 2. And yeah, again, it's not like the region where you have sort of multiple stages. It's this one area with a couple of stages, inside it.
But a real fun part is the Replicart. And there, KDM's asking, does the Replicart replicate condensed creativity? Does it, Norm?
Yes, it does.
It sure does, because the mice can drop condensed creativity. And the Replicart's unique, and it's even just, maybe it's nice to share ahead of time to make sure there's no confusion right off the bat, but the mice drop the item, and then an extra one gets replicated in the cart, correct?
Absolutely. And not just an extra one, but whatever quantity of item you drop, the exact quantity gets replicated in the cart. So if you got 10 of something from the mouse, one of the things that it does replicate, you would get another 10 of those things in the cart.
Make sure there's no confusion. I know the nest in the queso geyser, it's collecting the loot for you. This is different. You still get the loot drop, and it's being replicated. It's being cloned, duplicated, however you want to phrase that, into the Replicart. So it's creating another copy of that loot drop. Then you get to choose whether you want to keep it or whether you want to burn it, which is an awfully fun little part of the area. And here we can show a couple examples here, Norm. I'll pull up.
Yeah.
Are you ready to show this cart?
Yeah, this is. I'm ready. I'm definitely ready. This is probably one of the most interesting things about the area to me.
It's a whole lot of fun. So you finish your run, and you can peek in the cart whenever you want too, can't you, Nora? So you can
yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was going to say. So if you saw on the previous slide, there's a peek inside button. So unlike the nest in the geyser, which you don't get to see until it's all done, at any point you can click that button to see what's waiting for you, and that might help you make the decision of whether maybe I should get out of here now, rather than maybe I should keep going, that kind of thing. So yeah, so it's very different from the nest.
I can show a couple. It's echoing a little bit, eh? Well, I'll try our best here, but. So when you peek in the cart, it's going to show up a little bit like this. Or exactly, well, not quite like this. This is when you're finished the run, but you can peek in to see what you loot. And this is a poison run. I would take it from those poison grubs in there.
That is, yes. And they're called the toxic tunnels. Yeah, so this was a fairly long run. I can't remember how many hunts it was exactly, but this is a reasonable length run. But yeah, as you could see, so in this particular case, you would have looted 2,386 poison grubs, and then another 2,386 goes into the Replicart. But you don't get to claim or burn until you finish the run. So they're just sitting there waiting for you. And then the moment comes when you get to make the choice. Do you keep or do you burn? And I believe you also have a screenshot of what happens if you click that burn button, right?
And then if you choose to burn it, you get something that looks a little bit like this. So you can kind of nicely see, I even kind of like the toggle of it. You can see exactly what's staying and what's going.
Mm-hmm.
You can see an ice version of that. Oh, not there. Where is the ice version? There we go. There's the ice version. So every cavern even has a little bit of different loot as well. Hey, Norm, everyone has its own sort of flavor and
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the grubs are a pretty obvious one that, you get the ice grubs and the ice cavern, etc. But then it's the other loot that can change significantly, right? So in as you can see, there's sort of the charms here. So in ice, you're going to get some version of luck charms as well, some of the time. And then obviously you can see the cold fusion here and the war scraps, so very ice-themed things. And then there's the jackpot drops, which you can see on the bottom row there. Those are obviously not guaranteed. They happen once in a while. This was a particularly fortuitous run that you're looking at here, but they do happen. And I will give you a little bit of a hint for when the area comes out. There's a little question mark button on the HUD, and if you click that button, you will be able to see all the types of items that can be replicated by the Replicart. We're not going to show you that today. That you'll have to wait for Tuesday. But if you're curious, once the area unlocks, you can go click that button and see what kinds of things can be replicated. And yeah, there's another fun one as well. The curious.
Finally, a fire run. See, kind of now you can even see when they were attacking Ronza's ship there, some of the theme of the cheese that you're using to hunt them with and where they're coming from, these origins of the dragons. You can start to see some parallels in the theme of the loot that they're hoarding as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and some of this loot, as you can see, might even be useful in other areas, you know?
Now, I think I saw who was asking about Dragonhide shards, if they're going to have a new use or not. And that was actually good to... Speaking of Dragonbane charms, that would be good to emphasize as well. So Ronza is offering a Dragonbane charm exchange, and this exact same exchange, actually with the addition of the ultimate Dragonbane charm, is going to be available in the Draconic Depths, but it's the exact same cost. There's no extra planned use for the shards, so by all means, you feel free to spend them ahead of time at Ronza. In fact, Norm, if you're not a Viceroy, what advice would you give to somebody who has some Dragonhide slivers and they are not a Viceroy?
I would say absolutely, yeah. If you're not a Viceroy, if you're not going to be going to depths anytime soon, absolutely exchange your slippers and arms. There's no guarantee that Ronza this exchange next year. I would go so far as to say it's unlikely that she will. So if you don't, then they would just be sitting in your inventory and potentially testing like that. So I just all exchange them while you got them, and any other
area, which would be great.
Oh, sorry, hold on, Norm. Technical difficulty. One sec. One sec. I totally had you muted.
Okay. How long have I been muted for?
At least we get to listen to Georgia singing again. All right. Well, there you go. Sorry, okay. Norm. Your audio was totally missing off this Dragonbane charm. So I think I asked you.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. What advice you have for somebody who has a lot of Dragonhide slivers, but they're not Viceroy?
Yeah, so absolutely. If you're not a Viceroy and you're not going to be going into the Draconic Depths anytime soon, you should absolutely spend your slivers at Ronza to get the Dragonbane charms, because otherwise they will just be probably sitting in your inventory until you eventually get to the Draconic Depths. It is unlikely that Ronza will have this the next time she comes around, this exchange, so you might as well use them now, and get a hold of those Dragonbane charms so that you can use them in the other areas, the Geyser, Masu Picchu, etc. So I absolutely. And for those of you who are going to Draconic Depths, you can spend them now. You can spend them on Tuesday. It's not going to make a difference. The exchange rate is going to be exactly the same, as you can see from the screenshots. But yeah,
so by all means,
go spend them now if you're not a Viceroy. Yeah.
There's no advantage to holding on to them. You may as well spend them at Ronza now, so you can't forget to do it later. And they'll be used for the exact same thing in the depths.
Yeah.
And now, what's some loot without some rewards? So shall we touch on what rewards you might find in the Trapsmith here? And we'll pull up a little bit of what the Draconic Depths Trapsmith has for sale. I don't think it has everything. And, just anything that might get a little tweaked and tuned, although fairly unlikely being Friday before release. But just in case, a few numbers have been removed, but just in case they get tuned a little bit. So that'll be a bit of a surprise as well. But, maybe you can give a quick little rundown of at least 3 things that are in the Draconic Depths Trapsmith.
Yeah, so you can see, you can see 3 of the things in the Trapsmith right now. There's one that we're gonna keep a secret for the moment. But so first thing here is the new base, which everyone is, been expecting. I'm sure the Dragon's Breath Opal Refractor base, the latest in the refractor base lineup. The technology is just exceptional these days with these refractor bases, and as you can see, it maintains all of the special effects of the previous ones, in addition to the new special effect of doubling Dragonhide sliver drops. So it will require that you own the Sorcerer Sapphire base, but it will not consume it, just like all the previous ones. You just have to own it. And it's going to cost some gold, some Dragon's Breath Opals, and the mythical Dragon Heart. Beyond that, moving along, the next is the Dragon Snare Net Launcher. So this trap is it's a great alternative for anyone coming into the area who doesn't have a Dragon Slayer cannon. It's the stats are very comparable to the original Dragon Slayer cannon, but obviously without the rib. And you can come in and buy it with just gold, so you can right from the moment you enter the area, you'll have a pretty good footing. But obviously not as good as not as good, certainly not as good as the Chrome Dragon Slayer cannon. And yeah, certainly last but not least is the third item, the Dragon Devastator multi-cannon, which requires ownership of the Chrome Dragon Slayer cannon. So, having that is going to be very useful for earning the trap and also an absolute necessity to even get it. And it is going to be a heavy hitter. A very, very heavy hitter.
A couple of kind of good questions here as well. So the hearts and the opals, which one of those is tradable and which one's not?
The mythical dragon heart is tradable. The opals are not tradable.
And actually, to that effect as well, with that Chrome Dragon Slayer cannon is definitely going to come in handy on the journey. Not only do you need it to get this final, or not, well, maybe not final upgrade, but additional upgrade to the Dragon Slayer cannon, but it's definitely going to be a useful tool to use to unlock it, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you purchase the Chrome Dragon Slayer cannon during Ronza, you will be glad that you did so.
And to be clear, it is a requirement.
Great use out of it in this area. Trust me, you'll get great use out of it.
You'll put some miles on the Chrome Dragon Slayer cannon, and yeah, just to clarify, it is a requirement, not a cost. So you will not spend the Chrome Dragon Slayer cannon to make the upgrade. You just kind of need it as a template for the Trapsmith to work from to get the multi cannon. And there's little other surprises to be found in the Trapsmith as well, but we might kind of see what comes up on Tuesday. What would you say, Nor?
Yeah. There's something else in there as well. We're not gonna, we can't spoil that. But one thing you're not looking at right now is that so you mentioned the slide there, the codices. So in the general store, there are 2 Draconic codices and 2 physical codices that you can also purchase with Dragon's Breath opals. So the Draconic codices will certainly also be very helpful for you in this area, and the physical codices will be helpful in previous areas. So there's quite a few rewards here.
Yes, some fun things to unlock as you seek out some loot and navigate the Draconic Depths. KDM, can we have a look at the codices? I think the Draconic ones have been kicking around for a while. I think a few eagle-eyed mouse hunters found some Draconic codices laying around, but otherwise you might have to wait till Tuesday. I don't have them too handy, but you've maybe caught a glimpse of the Draconic here and there. Was it the School of Sorcery originally, the Draconic codices were scheduled for? We kind of changed our minds there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, we had them implemented and everything. Yeah, so it was originally going to be the Shadow and the Arcane, and then the Draconic, and then we decided, and then when we started doing the M1000 production, we realized that it might be actually more useful to put Forgotten codices in there, because that will help you with your M1000 hunting, help you to sort of get to the point in the table of contents and improve your catch rate in there. So it just made sense to swap that out and save the Draconic codices for the Draconic area. And that's what we did.
And off the top of your head, Norm, do you know how many mice are going to be in the Draconic Depths group?
Yep, there are exactly 30. 30.
That makes it easy to remember.
Mm-hmm. And that includes the 3 that are live in the game right now.
A good question here. It'll hopefully be no confusion, because it is a big decision. I think it's a fun decision, but it's a big decision. And do you get to keep anything if you burn? Just to kind of elaborate.
It's all or nothing. It's either you keep it all or you burn it all. Yeah, so it is an interesting decision, and it will, it can change depending on what shows up in that card. It's a good idea. Just keep peeking into your cart as you're progressing through, to see if something pops in there that might make you change course. Maybe you went in there with the intention of making some embers, and then all of a sudden, one of those things on the bottom row there shows up, and you're like, actually, I don't want to burn this away, so maybe I should leave shortly. But yeah, that's a big part of the fun of this area is making those decisions, sometimes your plans get changed on you, but they get changed for a good reason because something really fun dropped into that Replicart. And remember as well that anything you see in that Replicart, you also got it to loot drop. So, in the case of the screenshot you're showing there, if you would have already gotten a jewel, but there's a second one waiting for you. So, yeah, it's some
kind of
interesting decisions to be had.
A good question about the prestige base versus the new refactor base, and even just kind of ballpark of where that sort of lands in comparison.
Yeah, it's quite powerful. I mean, it's certainly not going to dethrone the best prestige bases out there, but it is quite comparable. Now, it's also not a small cost, especially when you factor in all the other refractor bases that you had to get along the way and all the gold you would have spent on those as you go. And in this particular case, you're also going to need the mythical dragon heart, which is another journey to be had. But it is quite powerful. We're not going to reveal the stats right now, but it is comparable to a fairly high tier prestige. But also remember that it does not have the rift bonus, so that is something that it is exclusive to the prestige and other rift bases. So you can't get that extra 40%. But otherwise, the base stats are comparable to a high level prestige base.
YX, they're asking, what's Draconic Area's relationship with the Draconic Depths? Maybe you can give a little bit of a summary of the origin of dragons, I guess.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, so the lore is peppered in various different places and some item descriptions and some mouse descriptions and stuff like that. And I think even the description for the Dragon Ember on live right now has been updated with this sort of this hint. I think I put something along the lines of the true origin of these embers comes from somewhere deeper. So the basic idea is that the Draconic Depths is the true origin of the dragons in Narnia. So every other dragon you've encountered up to this point originally came from the depths, or is maybe a cousin to one of the dragons in the depths. And like I said, that loot is sort of peppered here and there. But this is where they originate from underground. And the Mythweaver uncovered this and realized that they are the strongest dragons are actually still yet to surface, and that's why he's down there amassing his dragon army to lead against the good people.
And even there's a few areas with dragons, including Mousu Picchu. Now, is Mousu Picchu represented in the Dragon Depths, Norm?
Sort of. I mean, yes, it is in a way. The Mousu Picchu dragons I would consider a cousin to a particular group of dragon that are not represented on the screenshots you're showing here. And those you'll have to wait and see.
There might be a glimpse of one in behind the text there, just a little bit, peeking
oh,
its head
yes,
out.
You're right. So yeah, the what do we call them? The storm dragons from Mousu Picchu would be sort of cousins to those.
Maybe good too to reiterate one more time this keep versus burn to make sure nobody makes a decision that they might regret, although sometimes that's kind of part of the fun a little bit, so you know what not to do next time. But it is all or nothing, otherwise it would be a very easy and simple decision to make. So that's why no matter how much you might want to be able to protect one or keep one, it's quite intentional that it's all or nothing, so that it's an interesting decision and you have to pay attention. And as Norm was alluding to, as you kind of keep pushing further and further and further, you might want to keep peeking in that cart because you may have to change your plans depending what pops up. So there's almost a little bit of an element of risk as you keep exploring further and further. If you're planning on burning what you found, you may have to change your mind. So it kind of keeps you on your toes a little bit to make an interesting choice along the way.
Yeah, and another thing I'll sort of reiterate too about this is that the screenshots you're looking at here are from a fairly long run, a longish run. When you first enter the area, you're not going to be capable of doing these sort of long runs. So there is a bit of an opportunity to sort of learn the mechanic where you'll be doing shorter runs with fewer pieces of loot, and so your decisions will be a little bit simpler. But then as you progress through the area and you build up your resources, you're able to get deeper and deeper where the more lucrative mice and the more exciting loot drops are. So there'll be plenty of opportunity in the early area, like when you first start the area, to keep and to burn little bits here and there, and the decisions will be, relatively easy. But then as you go deeper and into the Dragon's Hoard, that's when you get to see stuff like this.
A couple questions about, do embers have a new use? So we did kind of hint at it here. They are going to be able to extend your run. So you are burning these into embers, so there's a use for those embers there as well. And they're kind of advantageous to extend your next run in hopes of finding different loot. Maybe you found the loot that you didn't want to find, you can burn it. So your next one, you have longer time to try to find something that you were a little more interested in. A lot of kind of momentum. I might avoid comparing it to sort of other things, but it's one of those resource management where you gather a lot of resources, and kind of as you build up that economy of resources, you kind of get to go a little faster. The more input you put in, the more output you get, sort of idea. Mm-hmm. Should we look at the trivia so that we can hear the Dragonbane charm jingle that Giorgio so masterfully sings?
Yeah, it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. I do see a couple questions maybe worth answering quickly. People asking about Canon's creativity. Canon's creativity, as normal, it sort of doubles certain loot drops, not all loot drops, but it doubles, relevant loot drops to the area. It will double the grub drops and stuff like that, which also gets reflected in the Replicart. So I think that answers that question. And I did see someone asking about the treasure maps. Treasure maps will not come out on August 13th, but they won't be too far behind.
All right, let's listen to Giorgio's beautiful singing one more time here, and we'll get to the trivia question. And it's on the topic of Dragonbane charms, and this... Which locations currently sell Dragonbane charms? And there's a few. I kind of forgot about a couple of the spots that sell Dragonbane charms in the shop. There's a few places to get them, but specifically you visit the charm shop and they're selling them. Got a couple correct answers. Can you get them all though? Swift saying Masu Picchu Floating Islands. Those are both correct. There are some more spots. YX is adding the Queso Geyser Charm Shop. This is a nice cooperative trivia response happening here. We are slowly forming the right answer. And Michelle, none other than Michelle, completes the 4 areas, because indeed Ronza's shop is currently selling them as well, which she might not do next year. But there are those other places to get them. Indeed, as Queso Geyser, Masu Picchu, Floating Islands, Ronza's shop. So it's also a fun little reminder to maybe you want to travel around to those areas. See, in the Geyser, it's Knot Shore and Solidified Amber Queso. In Masu Picchu, it is Dragon Scales, and Floating Islands, it's Sky Ore and Sky Glass, and Ronza's shop, of course, it's the Dragon Hide Slivers. There's bonus trivia to what the costs are.
Yeah, for sure. So, before the area comes out, or, it's definitely worth it to travel those areas. You might already have a bunch of loot from those areas kicking around that you can exchange into Dragonbane charms to get yourself ready for this area. Yeah, I noticed, when I did it, I happened to have a fair bit of ore and glass that was kicking around from my time in the Floating Islands, so I can exchange that into Dragonbane charms. So it would be a worthwhile thing just to travel around and see how many you can round up before the area comes out.
Honorable mention to the King's Arms. Does the King's Arms also have some Dragonbane charms?
I know it has. I don't know actually. I don't think it sells the base tier. I think maybe you can buy supers and extremes if you're using dragon shards or something like that. Could be wrong. So
technically yes, but not the base tier. And realistically, it's a little tricky to go and get dragon shards. But I think honorable mention to the King's Arms as well. It does sell the extremes, or the supers and the extremes, but not the base tier ones.
Right, because I think dragon shards you can only get during spring egg hunt, right? Isn't that the only way to get them right now?
And you smash open an egg and you get 1 shard. So it's kind of a holdover from the dragon shard event of so long ago. Well, anything else you want to touch base on here, Nor?
Oh, I mean, there's so much fun stuff that I probably shouldn't say anything more because I want to leave some of it to be a surprise. I think we've given a pretty decent sort of sneak peek at what's to come. I'm very excited to see, to watch people explore and experience the area. But yeah, very, very excited about. We've worked extremely hard on this area. There's some absolutely fantastic art all through the HUDs and through the items and the traps and everything. Here be dragons, and some of them will be quite difficult. So those Dragonbane charms that Dave linked there will come in handy.
Well, there be dragons. That's a good note to end on. Thanks for joining us today, Hunters. Norm, thanks for popping in and helping me out today.
Yeah, always a pleasure to come on the show.
Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Remember to pick up the map piece. When you get those first 100 of each grub, make sure you buy that map piece. Remember to claim the adventure reward as well. It's got some pretty nice stuff. It's the first time Ronza's visit has come with an adventure, so that's a nice little bonus. You pick up the map piece. You get the adventure reward as well. Now, if you don't get the map piece now, you can get it from the School of Sorcery as of Tuesday. It is, Norm, please correct me if I'm wrong, 1 million gold and 1,000 sapphires.
Yes.
All
Fortunately,
right.
Those numbers aren't reversed. That'd be pretty difficult.
So there will be, obviously, there's always a way to get the map piece after. It's just kind of a fun way to get the map piece. So, hey, as soon as the area opens, everyone can dive on in and have fun together immediately, kind of waiting for your friends to get the map piece at the same time. It's just a pretty positive feedback. It's a fun way to launch an area so everyone can do the same thing at the same time. But again, thanks for joining me, Hunters. Remember, Tuesday, August 13. I'm pretty sure I got that date right. The Draconic Depths is coming, so be prepared. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Dragonbane charms, Dragonbane charms, Dragonbane charms, and Dragonbane charms. You're a trap, don't seem to mind it. You attract me, I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it, soft and furry. Oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. You don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cool. And just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. And just when you think you're safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. Just when I think I'm safe. Oh. Turns out I'm never safe. Oh, just when you think you're safe. It turns out I'm never safe. Turns out I'm never safe.